alert telling me we are live. That's great. Okay, we are here with Ring the Bell podcast number 7. Nathan, how have you been, man?
I'm right, mate. How are you?
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. I enjoyed the boxing this weekend. There wasn't so much of it, but there was, some good fights on. I enjoyed a lot of them. We are going to start things off talking about the Sergey Lipnitz Mikey Garcia fight. Did you happen to catch this one?
I saw the highlights of it, but I didn't watch the whole fight. But I saw the knockdown and I saw the last couple of rounds. I thought Garcia dominated him for what I saw of it.
Yeah, he won a fairly clear, comfortable points decision. It was close at points. I think it wasn't the explosive Mikey Garcia where everybody's used to. I think he does need a bit of time to work his way into that division. He got hit a few times, but he got hit a fair amount. There were some rounds where Sergey Lipnitz looked good, but overall it was a comfortable win. He got a very good knockdown. I think that was the 10th round. I could be wrong, but I think so. And so, yeah, I thought it was a great performance from Mikey. He looks good in that division, but he does need to he needs to pick and choose now. I think he said he's going to stay in 140 and not go back down to 135. So if that's the case, he sort of needs to try and bulk up to get his power to carry. He looked good. He looked explosive. He did look powerful, but I think there is a slight drop off in that performance. I don't know. Maybe I'm not giving Lipnitz enough credit, but Mikey did what he needed to do. He's the IBF champion now, so there's a lot of great fights for him to be made in that division.
Yeah, I mean, it's very open, isn't it, that division?
Who would you like to see him fight next?
Garcia. I don't know, really. Crawford's gone up, so I would like to have seen him fight Crawford, but that's not going to happen. I'd like to see
Loma. But at 135 or 140?
Yeah, 135. Yeah.
Well, this is the problem. This is the problem, though. He needs to pick and choose whether he's looking for the big money fights at 135 or the belts at 140. Because if he stays at 140, he sort of needs to put on a bit more muscle. But if he drops back down to 135, he can't afford to. So it's an interesting decision he's got to make there.
It wouldn't put it past me if he went up to 147, which he'd be too small for, and it'd just be ridiculous.
I think he could do it in 3 or 4 years when he's outgrown 140, but he shouldn't do it yet.
No, the only way he does it now is if he picks a weak champion. That's it.
Well, there aren't really any. There aren't any at 147. You've got Spence, Furman. I suppose you could say Horn, but he's too big for Mikey Garcia right now anyway. So, right, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one for me. I do like Mikey. He's got a similar thing about him that Badu Jack has. He's not necessarily special or elite in any one department, but he's good at everything. And so I've always liked Mikey Garcia. I think his last few fights have been good. I hope they get him the sort of super fight now because he really deserves it. So, yeah. We'll move on to Francis Barthélemy versus Kiryl Relikh. Did you happen to catch this one?
I, again, saw the highlights of it and it looked a decent track.
It really was, man. But I tell you what, Kiryl Relikh won this convincingly, and I'm glad they did not rob him this time because he should have been a world champion in Scotland against Ricky Burns.
I know, yeah.
In my opinion, he should have been a world champion the first time he fought Francis Barthélemy. It was a closer fight, the first one, but this one, Kiryl Relikh gave the judges no chance of robbing him. But to be fair, Francis Barthélemy's work rate is so low. He sort of just gave away round after round with low work rate. And Kiryl was busting him up, rocking him back, controlling the ring position, moving him to the ropes. He basically dominated the fight. It was A really
Kiryl
impressive
Relikh's
victory.
special, is he? He's
No,
nothing
he is.
special.
I actually disagree. I think he should be a three-time world champion at this point. So I don't know. I think he's pretty good. He's got what seems to be a basic style, but then so does that Cat's guy geezer. But he's actually not as basic as he looks. He's very clever on the inside, very decent fighter.
Trained by Ricky Hatton.
Yeah. I think so. I believe so.
Really?
I should. I'll need to check that up, but I believe so. I give him a lot of credit, man. I think he's pretty decent. He should have won 3 world titles by now, so that's not too bad.
But have you noticed how Ricky Burns seems to get lucky decisions all the time?
Yeah, didn't he get one against Beltran as well?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, Beltran should be a 2-time world champion as well.
It's ridiculous. It doesn't reflect good on Relikh, really, does it? When you look at that loss, really. I mean, because he's a good fighter. You know what I mean?
I suppose so. It doesn't. It makes Ricky Burns look less bad because Kiryl Relikh's now gone on to win a world title. So you could argue that that close victory actually looks very good on Ricky Burns' record. But obviously, a lot of people would argue. But down in the later lines in history, people will have forgotten all of the controversies, and they'll just be looking at wins and losses. So it's an interesting one. We shall move on. This is a fight that I imagine you did see, because even if you watched the highlights of it, that was all there was. Regis Prograis versus Ndongo.
I did, yeah. I thought Prograis did really well.
Yeah,
Ndongo looked shot. Ndongo looked shot.
Ndongo did look shot. He looked like a rabbit in the headlights. To be fair, I've seen Ndongo box well. I've seen Ndongo knock people out brutally. But we'd never seen him box at world level and against elite opponents. And his last 2 fights, he's been found out that he's not a great boxer. He might have good power, but he doesn't really have great chin, and he's not a very good boxer.
Again,
so
he looked out in getting 2 world titles, in my opinion. Again,
he's got power. He's got power. So I mean, he didn't just knock out Burns. He knocked out like 3 or 4 guys on the way to getting the world title. Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't a fluke. He'd done it a few times in a row, but he's just sort of been found out at world level. I think there's a route for Ndongo. He can still go and fight at sort of, the intercontinental level, the silver title level, but you can't put him back in there against these guys. Yeah, for sure. Prograis, on the other hand, how about him versus Josh Taylor?
Be a great fight. But you'd have to favour. I don't know who you'd favour. I'd say Josh Taylor.
I'd say I want Josh Taylor to win, but I'd say it's a 50. It's as close to a 50-50 fight as you're going to get. That fight would remind me of De Hale versus Groves. 2 young guys, very likely. Well, but it's not, because whoever wins a world title, and whoever loses can still win a world title. So I'd say it's a great fight. I'd love to see that. That's the sort of fight we need to demand in boxing.
For the interim title, WBC interim title, I believe.
It's great. It is good. They're going to move him a good path, and I'm interested to watch him. But I think the loser of that fight loses nothing. As long as they both put on a good performance, there would be nothing to really lose from that fight. How about Prograis versus O'Hara Davis?
Oh, I think O'Hara Davis will get flattened.
Probably.
That's maybe not.
At this point in time, he's not ready for that sort of big fight again yet. But at some point, it might be an opponent that they look at. But yes, it was interesting for me. Great knockout, stunning, just bludgeoned him over. Really, it wasn't really a snappy shot. It was like a bulldozer of a shot. It was an interesting knockout. good fight, good win. New Orleans boxing is on is on the map. It's not had a big boxer there for a very long time. So fair play to New Orleans. I hope he stays there and builds big crowds and becomes a big ticket seller there. The final big fight that happened over the course of the weekend was Scott Quigg versus Oscar Valdez. Now, I'm sure you saw this one.
Yeah, I did. It was a good scrap. I enjoyed it. I thought the problem in this fight was, I mean, he just got outclassed, didn't he, Quigg?
Yeah,
he was throwing single shots, single and double shots, but then Valdez was throwing 4 or 5 punch combinations, hitting very often, and he was too quick for Quigg as well, I know.
So everything went wrong for Quigg in this fight and the build-up. He broke apparently, it wasn't a break, but it was like a stress fracture of ankle. And so that's apparently why he couldn't shift the last bit of weight as easily from himself. So he was actually trying to make weight. I had theorized that possibly it was a tactic, but clearly not. They did want title. They did want to make weight. He was just slow in there. There was some real problems for him. He was clearly the bigger guy, but he didn't have the speed to get in range.
I reckon if he'd been fit, like he'd been in previous fight, he could have won that. Because you saw it like in the 5th round, he could have had him out of there.
Well, this is my point. But here, let's go through all the things that went wrong, right? So he did hurt Valdez in the 5th, but when he hurt Valdez accidentally headbutted him on the way out, like as they separated, and that cut Quigg's eye quite badly. And it was not on the outside; it was on the inside. So it was blurred. So he pretty much had blurred vision from round 5 onwards. And then the second time he hurt Valdez, this was a couple of rounds later, maybe the 7th or the 8th. Valdez responded and broke his nose badly, like really badly. And so you just got to feel really sorry for Quigg because he puts everything into. Yeah. Well,
do you know what I mean? I'm sorry to be harsh, but
I don't know, man. He puts everything into boxing. He lives the life. If you know about Scott Quigg, you know that he lives in the gym and that he's the weirdest fighter to ever miss weight. I think you can forgive it one time, especially if it's true that he had a stress fracture in his ankle during training camp. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Valdez was very, very skilled, very fast hands. Clearly carries some sting in his shot because he busted up Quigg's face, but I don't think he's got knockout power at world level.
How do you think he'd get on against Frampton? And be honest, I think he'd cause Frampton a hell of a lot of problems.
Well, I think the Frampton that fought recently and the one that lost to Santa Cruz, he'd beat that Frampton. The Frampton that beat Santa Cruz and beat Quigg maybe it would be a close fight. I think Valdez is very easy to hit, and he's obviously got a chin. Quigg hit him with a lot, and he didn't go down. But right now, I don't know if you saw, he got rushed to hospital after the fight too. He had a broken jaw. He had a broken jaw. Not teeth missing, all sorts. They'd both been through a war. So it was one of those fights where the scorecard was the right scorecard, but it doesn't actually do justice to Scott Quigg because it was a closer fight than the score really showed. Some of those rounds, Valdez won them, but they weren't dominating rounds. So
Valdez can go on and win more world titles. That lot. Well, Scott Quigg, I think, needs to have a look at himself. His training, his trainer, who his promoter needs to look at everything. He needs to come back to England and sign with Frank Warren. So I don't think Eddie Hearn's got his best interest at heart anymore. If you're a good matchmaker, you don't make fights like that. For someone like Scott Quigg who's had, do you know what I mean? Do you agree?
I don't. Not really. I think this is where we are diametrically opposed on boxing a little bit. I am all for putting guys in tough fights that they might not win, but they could win. Bellew versus Hay. Martin Murray sending him off to Argentina where he almost won, but he got the draw. Sending him over to Germany to fight Sturm, where he pretty much did win that fight, but got robbed. So no, I think you should put Scott Quigg in fights against Oscar Valdez if he wants to. If you've ever been a world champion, there isn't one person that you should turn down a fight for. That's my personal opinion. That's because I'm a fan. I'm not a boxer. I don't really.
That's what Frank Warren does with a lot of his fights. He avoids fights.
I disagree. I disagree a little bit. When he trusts his fighters, he puts them in there. So Billy Joe Saunders, if you actually look back at his early fights, he had to fight really, really tough British level fights the whole way to world title level, and that actually helped him. That like if you're good enough, you'll win, and then you'll be ready for the big fights. So that's.
But we've seen it so many times in boxing where boxers get swerved around all the good people and end up with belts. We've seen it so often. I mean, Scott Quigg is a good fighter, but do you reckon he should? The thing is, I mean, where does he go from here, really?
I don't think it's that bad a loss. I think because he put in such a hearty performance, almost had Valdez out of there.
That'd be good enough to beat most world champions, wouldn't that performance? Would be good enough to beat most of them. Yeah.
Sure, but I mean, he did come in overweight, so he wouldn't have won the belt. But the point is, I don't think it's the end of the line for Scott Quigg. But I do agree with you on the trainer front. I don't really see what Freddie Roach has done to help his boxing. Does it look like Scott Quigg's any better at boxing than?
No, he looks worse. He looks worse, in my opinion. Right. He's better off going back to Gallagher.
Right, and that's weird to say, but it's actually the truth, isn't it?
He looked flat.
He did look flat, but obviously, if you've missed weight and then you try and make weight, it can drain the shit out of you a lot, even more. So I do feel for him a bit, but I do agree with you. It's his own fault at the end of the day. He gets to say no.
Pulled out less, haven't they? Other fighters have pulled out for less.
Well, if anyone should have pulled out, it should have been Valdez. Because
of the weight advantage,
fucking hell. Some of those shots he took were like taking shots off a light welterweight. So that's pretty brutal. You do have to say that. And, we do have weight classes for a reason. And so I do hope Oscar Valdez is all right. I can understand why some of the journalists were very angry with Scott Quigg, but at the end of the day, if you go back and watch Scott Quigg's interviews, he really doesn't have a hurtful or bad bone in his body. He's quite a nice, simple guy who just lives and breathes boxing. So I kind of tend to believe him. I don't think he's clever enough to tell a lie. That's the kind of the honest truth.
He doesn't sound like he's got a brain anyway. If you are
a little bit, yeah. So, I feel for him. Hopefully, he can come back. I think he should probably come back at European level, get a European title, see where he goes from there. That's sort of.
I mean, I think he could win a world title when a title becomes vacant against the right person, but
yeah, that's why I'd keep him active in the European level. Get him back against, a top 15 in the.
I think he'd beat Warrington based on that. He'd beat Warrington based on that performance.
I think he would beat Josh Warrington, but the problem is signing the Josh Warrington fight at this point is completely out of the question because Warrington's
Josh Warrington's stock is not as high as Quigg's right now, is it? In my opinion.
No, it is. It's way higher because Warrington has the sellout crowd at Leeds. He's got the big fights lined up with Selby. If he wins, he'll have the big fight lined up with Frampton. So I think
he's not likely to win it.
Okay, but he's still going to get paid a good load of money to fight Selby. So I do think he's in a bit of a. Even say there's some sort of. Say it's a draw or even it's a close win for Selby, he'll probably get a rematch. So he is in a good financial position, Josh Warrington, right now. So Scott
What I'm
Quigg,
saying is he's not a better fighter. We all know he's not.
sure, but
He's just fought the right people.
For sure, and he's been built into this position. Scott Quigg was built into that position, but he lost the fight to Frampton, and now he needs to rebuild into that position.
But like I say, Warrington's been manufactured very carefully. We know he's not super talented, and we all know that.
Mm.
He's got some talent,
I agree, and that's what Scott Quigg needs to go away and do now. He needs to go and get rebuilt, fighting some easier fights, European level, work his way back up. He could get another world title shot. I'm not sure he can win a world title, but he could definitely get another shot for sure.
I think. Do you reckon if he could ever get back down to super bantamweight?
No,
he ever could.
No, not if he's blowing this weight. But maybe that was just the ankle, so who knows? I don't think he could, though. No. I think he's probably put on more muscle since then.
He's fortunate. Move on.
Yeah, let's sadly, it was a good fight, good win for Valdez, but we've got a few bits of news to cover. One bit of news I think I'm going to share the screen for. Let's see. Yeah, why not? I think I can manage it without it going absolutely wrong.
Well, yeah.
Sweet. Manny Pacquiao versus Lucas Matisse reportedly set for June 24th in Malaysia. Now, I may go to this fight. If it does get actually signed for Malaysia, I'm a little bit worried though because Manny Pacquiao was supposed to fight Amir Khan in Dubai, and then that just disappeared, didn't it? So there's a lot of announcements like this for Manny, but we'll have a little read of this article here. Manny Pacquiao's next fight appears to be all set. The Filipino legend's MP Promotions has sent out a press release announcing that Pac-Man will face Argentine knockout artist Lucas Matisse in Kuala Lumpur on June 24th. Mav Gonzalez of GMA News has more on the announcement here. We'll have a little look. Oh, that's a tweet. I really don't care about the tweet. This is a damn sight better than Pacquiao Alvarado. That's true. That's very true. But, this is a weird fight, man. Because if Horn can beat Pacquiao, then Matisse might be able to. But Matisse's last fight was awful. I remember it's saying it in the article here. Matisse's last fight was absolutely a stinker. But Pacquiao is always happy to engage, and the machine will actually have a reach advantage this time. However the fight goes, it ought to be plenty entertaining. I don't know. So it's not a bad fight. It's better than Alvarado. What do you think about this fight, bro?
I think it's a difficult fight. Well, I think he's crazy taking it. Matisse, I think Pacquiao's such a shot fighter that Matisse could knock him out now. That's what I believe.
He could do, but Matisse's shot too.
I know they're both shot. So Pacquiao can stay on his feet for 12 rounds running around. He can win this fight just by running around the ring because Matisse is slow. But I just worry about the power that Matisse still covers, still has.
That's true. Power's the last thing to go in a fighter, so
Pacquiao should win based on skill level.
He should, but he should have beat Jeff Horn. Really?
I can see Pacquiao getting knocked out in this fight.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? But the thing is, Matisse got knocked out by Victor Postol in 2015, so it's not like Pacquiao can't knock out Matisse either. So it really is sort of two-shot former elite, top dogs getting.
Matisse is lucky he fought a European level fighter for his first world title. He's lucky.
Yeah, I can't remember who that was.
Some guy from Thailand, Karan. It took him 9 rounds to beat him.
Fair. I can't remember that, man. I know that I'm gonna put my money on Matisse to win simply because I agree with you. The knockout power carries into old
And
age. He really
I
has
just
it.
think Pacquiao should have retired about 3 years ago, and that's the gods on this trip.
To be fair, I mean, didn't Pacquiao beat
Bradley, yeah, a couple of years ago, but that's a couple of years.
Yeah, he had a good win on Bradley, and then he probably should have called it a day then.
Then he came back again. He retired, then he came out and
Yeah,
retired.
he had that unanimous decision win against Timothy Bradley. Then he beat Jesse Vargas, which was a good win too. But Jesse Vargas really shouldn't have been in the ring with Manny Pacquiao at that point.
For
And then he
me,
lost to Jeff Horn. I don't know, man. I think people might be saying he's shot. Maybe he's got one more fight left in him. Maybe he can win this fight.
how old
But
is he now? He's 30,
39.
ridiculous. I mean, he made a lot of money out of the sport, didn't he?
Sure, and he's a senator now, so he doesn't really need the money. Matisse is 35, so both of them are old for the weight class.
How
So
much did Mayweather get? No, how much did he get for his fight against Mayweather? 100 million, was it?
no, less. It would have been about 35 million or something.
Exactly. That's crazy. Yeah.
And he would have got a lot of money to fight Jeff Horn, and he would have got a lot of money to fight Bradley and Varga. He's made a lot of money, man. He's not poor.
He's not like. I mean, even they said where there was one where he was meant to fight Alvarado, they're saying, "Well, we don't want you as the main event." Do you know what I mean? When that happens, you know it's time to go.
Sure, but the problem is, I believe that Arum has a certain amount of fights with him, and if I don't think he can retire until he's fought all those fights. I'm not sure. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I imagine that there's some deal where he has to fight one more time. And Bob Arum just probably thought, I'll sign him an easy fight because that's what he wants. But Pacquiao's, yeah, exactly. And yeah, it was a stinker. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I picked Matisse maybe just, but I don't really know. I also don't really care because I think both of them should retire.
Well, definitely.
That's the biggest problem with the fight is that whoever wins and whoever loses should probably both pack it in now. So yeah, that's sort of my thoughts on that one. Then we had one other really interesting bit of news. Herwin and Kahas is fighting Jonas Sultan April 14th. Sultan is the mandatory challenger, but the fight has been made. IBF super flyweight champion Herwin and Kahas, who spent 10 rounds smashing Israel Gonzalez last month, is set for a quick turnaround. That is a quick turnaround for a champion, isn't it? To fight sort of 3 months.
He's a fighting champion, you know.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Easily, you know.
Yeah, he did. He's a great fighter. I really enjoy watching this Kahas fight, actually. So I'll try and watch this fight. It's going to be on the Crawford Jeff Horn undercard, so I'll be watching. Yeah, I'll be watching that show anyway. So that's turning
when
into
is that?
April 14th.
14th.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's just looking like it might be a good show all round, actually. So, yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, I had the Garcia Lipnitz article up because I was checking the scores because it was about what I thought it was 117, 110, or 116 and 111. Sporting News, the company who wrote this article, had it 118, 109 for Garcia. You could probably argue that too, especially with the knockdown. So
10 out round, obviously. You know.
Yeah, it was one of those fights where Lipnitz did win a few rounds, but Garcia dominated for the most part. You know, that's how I remembered it as well. So it's just interesting to see the scorecards there. Yeah, did we have anything else we wanted to talk about? We did.
Yes, we did.
The Joe Joyce card.
Before we come to that,
Okay, sure.
The James DeGale rematch has been made for April the 14th, I believe.
Oh, that might even be on that same card. You know, we're gonna have a little look.
I'm not sure, but I know it's an American card.
I think it might be the same card because I would be surprised if it wasn't. Let's see. Oh no, that's been made for the 7th of April, so it's a week before that other card. But yeah, that's great news. I'm really happy for James to get this rematch. I think his shoulder will be fine. I think he's going to be back in peak performance. I think he's probably going to knock this guy out badly. I think that's probably the outcome.
I mean, I'd agree with that, yeah.
It's sort of, at least he's going straight back in there to sort of Lennox Lewis shit up. Get back his belt, get back his pride from the loss. It's good.
I just feel it's too soon. It seems too soon again. If he loses this,
when is it? April 7th. I think.
Yeah, he should.
I think as long as he's got good doctors, and I think he probably has the best doctors in the world, his shoulder will be good to go. And if
he'll win the rematch, because I have serious doubts. I think he should.
I think he's going to knock Truex out for daring to take his belt. I think it's going to be a demolition.
This is one of them losses where you should have beaten the guy, and he's like
100%, man. I think if James has anything about him, he'll demolish this guy. We said that the first time, and I stand by it. I think
we could be wrong again. I mean,
I don't
say you might.
It's fine to be wrong sometimes. If James doesn't do it, that's on James. He has all the talent to do it.
I think he'll do it. But you know, he's got to knock him out. He can't let it go to points. He needs to knock the guy out.
Well, as long as if he does a 12-0, then it's fine. But I think he's just got to look good again and explosive. He's got to rock Truex early and get his respect so that Truex can't just come in on the inside. And I think if his shoulder's all right and he's firing away in training camp, he's going to be good to go and he'll stop Truex easily.
He should do.
That's what should happen anyway. But yeah, it doesn't always go that way. That's true enough. Look at the first fight. Anything can happen in boxing.
So anyway, we go to
Joe Joyce card. Yeah, there's actually two. He's been announced on two cards. So he's been announced on the Matty Askin-Steven Simmons fight. He's fighting Donny Palmer. We did talk about this fight a little bit.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, so
I don't really know much about Donny Palmer. I know I'm looking at him here. I know he's quite old. He came to the sport very late. He's only 9-1-1.
He was born in America. He was born in Honduras, but he speaks with an American accent.
He's 6'10".
Yeah, but he's got no real talent. I've watched him fight. I made a video about him on Main Event about 3 weeks ago. He'll get knocked out within a round.
Yeah, he's fought absolutely nobodies. His last fight was against a guy who was 0-5.
Yeah, I watched his fight, and within 2 minutes you could see he's not going to last. And he's on the ropes a lot. You know, he's very slow, robotic. Joyce, even the slowest will get rid of him within a round.
Fair. Well, a win's a win against a guy.
What do you think of Joyce's progression so far? I'm impressed, but at the same time, nobody wants to fight. So, you know.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's too hard to judge. So, this card's turned into a good little card, you know. It's a British level card. It's Haymaker promotion.
Fight.
But it's good. I got to give David Hayes some credit for this. You got Matty Askin versus Steven Simmons. That is a good cruiserweight fight. That is a really good cruiserweight title fight. It's for the British cruiserweight title. Wally Camacho, who we know a lot about, versus Danny Cousins. I mean, that's not the best fight. It's not the best fight, but you know, whatever, it's on there. Then you got Joe Joyce on the card too. So then you got a load of absolute sort of. Oh, you got Kean Thomas, who's a welterweight prospect. You haven't got many great fights, but that cruiserweight title fight is good, and it's good to have Joyce on a card like that.
That's a decent fight.
Yeah. And then of course, he's also been announced on what I believe is the Bellew Hay card. It is indeed.
No opponent. Is there an opponent?
No,
No opponent.
no opponent yet, but Martin Joseph Ward versus James Tennyson for the EBU title has been announced for that card, and that's a really good fight.
I could imagine, what's his face? Joe Joyce, David Hay managing to get Leroy Thomas over. I can imagine that happening.
Maybe.
I hope it does happen because I'd like to see Joe Joyce win a belt. Obviously, but not at the expense of Allen, but it's going to happen if it happens.
I would be really wary about putting Joe Joyce in there with Leroy Thomas. And I'll tell you why. I don't actually think Leroy Thomas is as bad as everyone thinks he is.
He's probably not. But
I actually think it would be quite risky at 2-0 or 3-0. I would wait till 5-0, 6-0 to take.
I think he'd beat Leroy Thomas right now.
I don't know. Maybe he'd make him quit because he does have real power. But Leroy Thomas is a sneaky boxer, and he's experienced in the heavyweight division. And I would be wary. I said I wouldn't put Joyce in with Chisora. Remember? I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it because if Chisora gets proper riled up for that fight, he could take Joyce's head off. And so I wouldn't do it.
What I'm saying is, Leroy Thomas is no Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora would beat Leroy Thomas.
Leroy, no, I don't know about that. Derek Chisora might just fucking plod around the ring. I don't know.
Yeah. Leroy Thomas, I mean, what about Dave Allen against Joe Joyce? That would be a good fight.
Yeah, I wouldn't want Dave Allen to take that fight.
I don't think Leroy Thomas is that much better than Dave Allen. I have to be honest, he's not.
It's not a lot It's not a lot better, but the difference is he can box on the back foot and do some pretty. With Kenny Porter, exactly. With Kenny Porter in his corner, they could come up with a game plan to nullify Joyce over 8 rounds, and that's why it's dangerous to put Joyce in with someone like that this early. I wouldn't do it. I think the fight that he's got coming up next against this 9-1 geezer, that's probably the perfect level. Get him one more like that, and then look for the Leroy Thomas Dave Allen winner.
It gets him confidence and it gets him wins.
That's the one, and get some experience in the pro ring and experience working with his trainer.
How about Gary Cornish? That would have been good for him, a Gary Cornish type fight.
I would definitely feel comfortable putting him in there with Gary Cornish because Gary Cornish has absolutely no chin. As soon as Joe Joyce starts breathing heavy in the fight, Gary Cornish will fall over.
I mean, he's got no stamina. This guy, this Cornish, he's got no defence. His record's made up of fluff. He's just very fortunate.
I was surprised that he actually managed to get so many wins without losing.
And so many title opportunities as well.
It's impressive. It is impressive. Was that everything we had to cover this week, man?
I'm just trying to think.
I pretty much think it was,
Tyson Fury might be signing for Eddie Hearn. You were going to talk about.
Oh, yeah, that's we can do that. That's an interesting little discussion. The gloves are off. We haven't discussed that yet. So, AJ versus Parker. Gloves are off on Sky Sports Demand. You can access it. I believe it was on YouTube, but Sky have gotten really good at taking videos down quite quickly. So it was only up for a short period of time, but I did manage to watch it. It was fucking boring. To be honest. Yeah. Neither of them have got a personality that makes you excited for fighting. Neither of them are Fury or Wilder. Neither of them are Bellew. They haven't even got a bit of Hay in them. It was dull. You had one guy sort of trying to be disrespectful a little bit. Joseph Parker was trying to be sort of coy with that New Zealand humour, but I don't mean to sound harsh because Anthony Joshua is obviously very intelligent in very many areas, but I don't know how bright he is sometimes because Parker was saying quite in-depth things about the fighting game and fighting life and sort of the fight that's coming up. AJ is so generic. I don't know if it's on purpose, but he comes back with the most pre-packaged, boring answers you could ever imagine. So I'm glad it was only 15 minutes long. It didn't help hype the fight at all. If anything, I mean, I suppose it did. I want to see them fight, but it wasn't a good gloves
Can I
are
be
off.
honest? There's a part of me that isn't looking forward to this fight. I don't know why. I don't know why. To me, it hasn't been sold as it should be. Do you know what I mean? It's not like as big as what the Klitschko fight was, is it? It should be.
No.
It doesn't seem.
For me, I'm excited for the fight. I just think because I don't live in the UK, I don't see all the adverts on the bus stops, and I don't see all the Sky Sports adverts. I'm sure there's
some of the adverts, even though I don't have Sky, but it's like this fight is important.
Yeah.
It's like obviously they're building Joshua as the main champion. It's like they don't even mention the WBO belt match. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's just an entity. Do you know what I mean? It's like Joseph Parker's the challenge. That's how it's coming across to me.
Well, in many senses, he is, man. Like he's coming to the Lions Den. He'll get announced as the champion on the way to the ring. It is being said. It is being called a unification fight. So I mean.
Yeah, but Joshua's selling this fight, not Parker. This is the whole thing. Parker's a great fight. Yeah.
Sky are selling this fight. I don't think Joshua's selling this fight much.
If there were ever two people in an era that are needed, I mean, God, it's a shame Joshua hasn't got the personality of an Ali or a Lennox or a Mike Tyson, and Parker hasn't got the marketability of a Tyson Fury. It's hard, it's hard. I'm looking forward to the fight, but it's just the build-up's dull.
It has been. I think the problem is that Parker's team tried to build up some fake needle, and it really didn't need it at all. That it could have been sold like the Vladimir fight, but instead they did that really cheap, cheesy, cringy video and press conference. So that's kind of where the build-up stemmed from, and I think that was a bad start, and it sort of carried on in a poor manner. But it's going to be, when it gets to fight night and AJ's ring walking and Parker's ring walking, you're going to be excited. So
I will be, but the thing is, when I look at this fight, this is a fight that I expect Joshua to win. There's no eggs about it,
I think it's a closer fight than people are thinking. I think it's probably 60-40.
Where does Joshua go if he loses this fight? I mean, really?
Well, there'll be a rematch clause, so that would be immediately where he goes.
I think both fighters are vulnerable, and it's strange. Obviously both guys have got these belts because of a certain guy not being there. Do you know what I mean? In my opinion, that's what I think. Well,
sure, but that guy only has himself to blame too. So it's an odd one, man. I agree with you on many things. I think they are both flawed, but there isn't a bigger fight happening in the heavyweight division for a while. So I'm gonna tune in and enjoy.
If Joshua wins this, I'll tell you what I think will happen. Joshua will keep the 4 belts, and his team will avoid one, and they'll avoid one for a couple of years.
No, Eddie
Hearn. The IBO is the 4th belt.
Yeah,
so I don't really count.
I count it because he's got the other 3. If he had just the IBO, it wouldn't count. But because he's got the other 3, you can kind of say 4 belts, because whenever a champion has the IBO and 3 or 4 belts, they always count it. So you kind of have to think that's fair. But I don't think they're going to avoid Wilder, man. I think what's going to happen is we're going to get a year before it happens. So it'll probably happen next summer because the talks are going to be fucking boring and long and drawn out. Because if Wilder wants 50% or 40%, but he brings none of the pay-per-view money and only one of the 5 belts, it's going to be a hard negotiation. And
I just don't. I've got a funny feeling the fight won't happen. I've just got a funny feeling that Joshua's team they'll swerve it because Eddie Hearn doesn't want to risk it. That's what I think will happen.
I don't get that sense. Eddie Hearn has put AJ in tough fight after tough fight.
Would it make sense to put your money, your cash cow, in with a guy you know could end it in a round? You know, that's how dangerous this fight is.
Would it make sense to build up a heavyweight to earn the biggest money in the biggest fights, and then
it does, but then there's the losses as well.
But then not put it. But the thing is, why would you build up a heavyweight to put them in the biggest money fights possible and make the most money out of them, and then not make the biggest money fights possible and make the most money out of them?
What I'm trying to say is, Joshua's team, they don't need Deontay Wilder or his belt.
They do.
They can keep making silly money. No, they don't, though. Because
but they do, because at the end of the day, people will get sick and tired of it if it goes on.
Well, Klitschko did it for 10 years. You know, he made a lot of money.
German fans are very different than British fans, man. We would not tolerate. Can you imagine, like, Kell Brook just defending against Frankie Gavin, then Jojo Dan, and then he doesn't he had to fight Golovkin because the public pressure was so huge for him to take a big fight that he had to. So I disagree. I don't think Eddie Hearn and AJ
that mentality
can get away with it.
No wonder the German boxers have longer careers.
Sure,
they don't want the bet.
But I don't. To be honest with you, I'd rather the boxers get paid a lot quickly for the biggest fights possible. I don't really. Long careers one thing, but I'd rather watch you have 10 great fights than 20 shit fights.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like Carl Froch. He was the epitome of just having fights with tough fighters and getting on with it. You know, that's what I respect.
Sure. Fight after fight after fight.
Against decent people.
Yeah.
He lost some and he came back and he won.
Even has to be. He would. Yeah. I mean, Froch is the guy that you cannot call a duck. He fought everyone.
No, because he didn't duck anyone. He went in that tournament. He beat Lucien Butte, who was unbeaten at that time.
Yeah.
You know, after
lost to Ward, but I mean that's fair enough. A lot of people lost to Andre Ward.
Yeah. The other subject we're going to talk about was the interview with Billy Joe Saunders.
Oh yeah, of course. So, well, I mean, Tyson Fury as well. So obviously, there's talks about Tyson Fury signing with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn. Potentially, if he does, you will see Deontay Wilder also sign with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, because Eddie would then have AJ, Wilder, AJ, Fury, and White, and also there's rumors that he might have Povetkin, considering that he's got a relationship with Povetkin, considering Povetkin is coming to fight David Price on one of his shows. So at that point, you would have to say as a heavyweight, you would need to sign with Eddie Hearn because he'd have all the top guys in the division. So we'll have to see on that one. I don't think Tyson Fury will sign with Eddie Hearn, and the reason I don't think he will is because Billy Joe Saunders won't, and it's for the same reason. It's loyalty. Billy Joe Saunders did a video. I think it came out today. I'll check quickly. I haven't got screen sharing anymore, but I believe it came out a few hours ago, but I can't quite remember the exact time of it. Might have been a day ago or so. 10 hours ago. Eddie Hearn flirting with me, but I'm loyal to Frank Warren. Billy Joe Saunders puts it straight. It's an interview on IFL TV. It's a good little interview. It's quite funny. Billy's his usual self, mocking everything and everyone. But But yeah, it's just interesting because he's saying, no, look, me and Eddie are talking. You know, we've got friends that are fighters. That, you know, we talk about their careers and that sort of stuff. He's a good guy, but I'm loyal to Frank Warren. What do you make of that?
I think he's right to be, because Frank put him in a good position, made him some money, paid him some good money, got him to a world title. You know, loyalty can be a good thing sometimes. Yeah.
Paid off the judges in the Akavov fight to make sure
Yeah.
Billy didn't lose.
Yeah, but if
Yeah.
he went with Eddie Hearn, I just don't think him and Eddie Hearn are a good fit for each other. I wouldn't see it working out.
No, but I do think we need more interviews with Billy Joe Saunders and Eddie Hearn because they're really funny. The one that they did was brilliant. I also think because of that, because of the loyalty Billy shows to Frank, I think we'll see Tyson show similar loyalty to Mick Hennessy.
I think he needs to, because Mick Hennessy did a lot of work for him. You know, but then again, if he went with Eddie Hearn, he'd make a lot more money, wouldn't he? You know what's
well, I mean, I think he could have Mick as a manager and Eddie as a promoter, so it wouldn't be the end of the end.
Tyson would probably, you know, be as rich as Joshua if he'd signed with Eddie.
At the beginning, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
More, arguably more rich.
Yeah.
2 fights with Chisora on pay-per-view, a fight with Hay on pay-per-view, a fight with Vladimir on Sky's pay-per-view, a fight with White maybe on yeah, he would probably be a lot more well off now. I agree.
But he's the real champion, isn't he? So
he's the lineal champion, but he's got to win a belt back first. I personally think he needs to get in shape and get that Manuel Char fight signed as soon as possible.
Then he'd be mandatory for Joshua, then, wouldn't he?
Eventually, before too long, they'd have to make the fight. So, yeah, he's got a path. It's right there for him if he can look at that path.
Joshua, like I say, Fury there's so many obstacles for him. He's losing the weight. He's down to about 18 stone now. Which is good.
He looks good. He looks good. I've been watching some of his Instagram. He does not look bad at all. Maybe it was his Twitter actually.
I don't understand why he blows up between fights. I never understood why.
He's an addict. That's as simple as it is. Whether it's food, whether it's alcohol, whether it's cocaine, whatever it is, he's a bit of an addict.
When he comes back, he's not going to be around for too long, is he? Maybe a couple of years, because of the way he's, you know, lived, and he hasn't lived a lot boxing last the last couple of years. So for me, he's lost 2 of the best years of his career.
Heavyweights can do it though. If any weight could do it, he could still fight into his late 30s because he's a heavyweight. But
do you know what I mean?
He can't. If he wants to do that, he could. But he has to. He basically has to go and live in the Ingle gym with Billy Joe Saunders and take his career.
The thing is, he's wasting his time down the toilet. You know, he's pissing it down the toilet. And
I think we need to be. That's gone now, man. It's done. He's been out of the ring. He's training. He's coming back. I think we've got to be positive and see what he can do rather than say it's done.
He's my favourite heavyweight out of all of them. You know, Joshua. You know.
I try not to have favourites or get emotionally attached to too many boxers. I just work with what is happening right now in boxing. And I think Tyson needs to have a couple of fights, see what level he's at, and then get himself back to world level. Then take the AJ fight.
1 easy fight, 2 easy fights, and then fight for a Manuel Char type of opponent.
I'd say 1 comeback fight, straight in with Manuel Char, try and get the AJ fight, maybe 1 or 2 fights after that.
I don't think Char wants to fight, but then obviously Char's got the Quendo silly Quendo fight.
Sure, but whoever wins or loses that is going to be able to be brought to the UK for pretty cheap money. Like, it's a title that you can probably get them to come over with $1.5 million.
Yeah.
So it's probably the right way to go. If Tyson Fury doesn't catch Manuel Charr or Fraser Quendo, someone else will very soon, like Miller or Povetkin or someone. They will do it because it's an easy belt hanging out there.
It's about time people stop banding around these secondary titles. It's really getting ridiculous.
True, man. But we can definitely cover that again. Especially, my thing with that is I hate talking about getting rid of the titles until someone actually does it. Otherwise, it's just, you can talk forever, and these companies, these WBA, WBC, they never fucking listen. They just do whatever they want. At the end of the day, they piss everyone off, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would be unhappy for one of them to just go away. I'm not saying which. I'm not picking a favourite. But if there was just 3 governing bodies, I think boxing fans would not miss the 4th.
I've sent you another article, and it says here, Frank Warren, trainer, says Warren sees very big things for Daniel Dubois.
Yeah, I mean, some of that's not news. Like, of course...
Not really.
Of course his trainer says that. Like, why wouldn't he? Like, why would your trainer turn around and say, nah, our promoter sees a very bad career path for us. He thinks we're going to do really shit. That would just be a weird bit of news.
Another thing I saw was O'Hara Davis, because I'm friends with him on Facebook. He put up a post with a picture of him, his trainer, and Eddie Hearn. And I'm thinking, why are you putting that? And then there were people putting abusive comments. Oh, you blew it, didn't you? Such and such. And I'm thinking, how's that going to help? You know, a fighter's confidence. Don't go on social media if you're O'Hara Davis.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think he controls. I think he's given over control of his social media. He said it in a Box Nation podcast interview. I don't think he has access to his main social media post anymore. I could be wrong, but that's what it sounded like in the interview. So maybe it wasn't him. I don't know. I imagine he's just keeping his head down. From what I heard in his interview, he's keeping his head down and sticking to boxing. So
he did have a YouTube channel, but he deleted it after.
I saw that. He created it and then deleted it within a day, because you posted it on our Facebook group and I clicked it within about 1 day of you posting it, and it had gone already. Probably for the best. He probably shouldn't be starting a YouTube channel right now. He's got boxing to focus on. Unless the YouTube channel is just videos of him training in boxing gyms, I don't really want to see it or hear it. That's the truth of it.
We've managed to go a podcast without mentioning David Haye. Or
no, I mentioned him.
Well, we'll have to try harder next time.
I mentioned the Bellew Haye fight earlier because Joe Joyce is fighting on that card.
Oh, I guess we're about done today.
We are indeed, man. That's exactly where I was headed next, because we do need to have a little check. I believe there's actually some good fights next weekend. Well, on Sky there isn't boxing till the 24th of March, but that's a big card. That's White Brown, Buglioni Johnson. So that is interesting. I do look forward to that, but that's a little while away. Then we have on Box Nation. No, it doesn't actually look like there's any big boxing on. So what I'll do is I'll check BoxRec, because they have the schedule for American fights too. Isaac Chilemba fights on Friday. He fights Blake Caparello. Don't really know who Blake Caparello is. Saturday, Alexandra Gvozdyk fights Mehdi Alma. Now Gvozdyk is he's a good fighter. He is. He's 14-0. He's from Ukraine. He's got a good style. I like watching him. I'll probably give him a chance. Oh, and then of course there's the Matty Askin Stephen Simmons fight on Saturday too. So there's a bit of boxing, but next weekend's not the most exciting, is it? But you know, there's some good fights there. I'll watch a few of them, and we'll do a podcast next week, mostly building up to the White Brown fight.
When is that fight? I forget.
It's not next weekend, but it's the weekend after.
And so Dillian White says the giant penis.
Tattooed penis, yeah. But Dillian White has got some really childish insults for people. But he laughs like a little boy anyway, so it makes sense. Tattooed penis. Tattooed penis. Like, are we in play school? Right, we will wind it up there. Thank you everybody for listening. Please subscribe, hit the thumbs up. We will be here again next week, probably looking to do the podcast on Sunday, as soon as the fights are finished and still fresh in our minds a little bit more. So yeah, look out for that on Sunday instead of Wednesday or Tuesday, as it's been for the last couple of weeks. Peace out, everybody.